All right, great. So this is our weekly session. We have two of these every week, 3 hours each. I did that because there was enough of a variation in the schedule where some people had was better for Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, and other people were better for Tuesdays and Thursdays. And then some people wanted it earlier because they're in the Eastern time zone. One some people wanted it later because they're in Hawaii time zone. So the only way I could do this is to basically juxtapose it in 2 different days. Okay. So of course you guys are welcome to stay for both sessions throughout the week or one session. But essentially that's just this can be practice essentially and working on things as a whole group. Okay. So there's 30-minute segments we're going to try to power through, which is perfect because there are 3 speaking sections in the entire pageant. There is the interview, which is the first thing that you guys are going to do. And then you're going to do the social platform. And then the top finalist. I believe this year the finalist is going to be, there'll be 8 finalists, not 10, 8 finalists, because it's based on how many delegates there. So this year, since we have 24 delegates, that means there's going to be 8 finalists that we chosen. And only the 8 finalists are the ones who do the Q&A. And the Q&A is the last 10% out of the 100 points total they can get, okay? And that essentially equals all the speaking segments equal about, no, not about, exactly 45% of your total 100% score. So it's basically half. And then the other 55% is going to be a lot of what you're going to get from Emily, which is the walking and the posing. So Tuesday's a heavy day for everybody because it's just full on pageant training. Now, the training that will be held over here on June 3rd, 17th, July, forgot when exactly, July 22nd. I think I forgot what part of July it was, but essentially there's 4 in-person trainings that's held here in San Francisco. Those are not necessarily trainings per se, as they are check-ins with the actual other staff members. So Emily's and my job is essentially making sure you guys are practicing every week, at least by touching base with you. Every 2 weeks, the staff comes in and sees the progress that I've done with you and Emily's done with you, and just check and say, okay, great. You're looking really good there, Kylie, good job. Or they're like, yep, needs more work there, Kylie. Next time we see you, I want to see improvement in this and this and this. And you can say, Francis, this is what I got feedback from in the training. If you were there, I want to work on this specifically if we can when it comes to my turn, whatnot. So that's what we try to do to synchronize our training here online and the training, check-in training that has happens every other weekend in San Francisco. I will also be doing my best to stream that on Zoom so that you can also, both those of you who are not in San Francisco can also engage in the training and so they can actually watch and try to give you feedback as best they can online as well, okay? Any questions so far? No? All right, so let's start off with some Q&A. Between now and 6:30, let's just try some Q&A. And yes, this is the first time you guys are going to be answering questions in front of each other. So I want you to get used to this because that's how you're going to be answering questions. So the top finalists, you guys will be answering questions, not just in front of me or in front of the other staff members or the judges. You'll literally be answering your Q&A. If you get picked for a Q&A as a finalist, you'll be answering your Q&A questions in front of about 1,000 people in the audience, okay? So no pressure. Now, I would like you, when it comes to your turn, to turn on your camera so I can at least give you feedback on also body language, all right? Eye contact and all that stuff too, okay? So I'm just gonna go down and I'm going to, one by one, basically who I see. So I'm gonna start with you, Ish, because that's who I see first, okay? And I'm just gonna randomly pick questions. And by the way, do you guys know the rules for Q&A? If not, let me go over with you one more time. Q&A is essentially 45 seconds. So you have 45 seconds to answer your question. Now, if I ask you a question and you don't answer right away, which is fine, you get a 10-second grace period. Okay, so that means the clock doesn't start for 10 seconds if you're just trying to contemplate and think. So you get 10 seconds to give yourself a little bit of a buffer zone. However, if you still don't say anything within 10 seconds, if you're like still thinking of something to say in 15 or 20 seconds, the clock kicks in at 10 seconds, regardless whether you said anything or not, okay? So that clock starts ticking from I guess 1 to 45 after your 10-second grace period. There is no warning bell, by the way. You're gonna have to figure this out in your head and just really get your head used to timing it mentally. If you start going past 45 seconds, then from 45 seconds till like basically the next 5 seconds. So from 45 to 50 seconds, between that window, if you start going over that window, then essentially what's going to happen is that you will be deducted 1/100th of a point. Okay, so right after that, automatically that's like 100 point. If you start going over another 5 seconds, so from 50 to 55 seconds, you're deducted a second 100th of a point. Okay, and then if you go from 55 to 60 seconds, you deducted another 100th of a point. So 3 100ths of a point. Okay, if you go past a minute, 60-second mark, you deducted the entire whole point. No more than that. That's where it ends. So if you decide to answer the question for like 2-3 minutes straight, which would be ridiculous to do on stage, but if you decide to do that because you can't stop babbling, you will lose whatever point you gain from that. You lose an entire 1 point right off the bat. Okay, is that clear, everybody? Okay, now I showed this to some of you guys, but I'm also showing it to you all here together. Let me go ahead and just so I can make sure you guys all see. And please keep this to yourself because it's pretty confidential, but you are the class. So I'm going to show it to you a little bit here, but here you go. Let me share my screen. Okay. Where is it here? Okay. Can you see my screen? Yeah. Okay. So I've showed some of you guys, but must show all you guys right here. If 100th of a point doesn't look that important to you, it is, at least if you're basically hoping to get to top 5. This year you only have top 8, so you won't even have top 10 anymore. You'll basically go from here to here. These are the finalists. You can see the top 5 girls in 2022. They are literally the top, the top first place girl got 90.9. That was Lisa. And then the 5th place girl got 90.09. So you can see how closely the scores are, less than 100th of a point. Okay, so losing like 100th or 200th or 300th of a point can actually push you between 1 and top 5 positions easily. Okay, if you lose an entire point, you'll literally probably drop out of the top 8 completely. Okay, does that make sense, everybody? So that's why you might think like, you might think that, oh, you know, that's no big deal if I lose 100th of a point, but if depending on what you're shooting for in this pageant, it can shift you up and down between the top 5, or if depending on how close you are to the latter part of the 5, it could kick you out of the top 5 altogether. Okay, so just know that you want to stay within the 45-second rule as much as possible. Now, even though I said that you get a grace period of 10 seconds, and you do also, but if you speak like within 2 or 3 seconds after the question answer, goes, oh my God, I already know exactly how to answer this, then the timer starts right off the bat. So if you start answering like within 5 seconds of after the question is answered, then the timer kicks in. Okay, so that 10 seconds is only for you to use if you need it, but the timer starts either within 10 seconds of the question being asked, or the minute you start, or the second actually you start speaking. Okay. Any questions about those rules? Is everyone clear? Okay, cool. You guys are smart. You guys are so quick in catching all this. All right, Ish, let's start this off. Let me get my timer here ready. All right. And I'm just going to pick a question out of random here. And I'll do the entire timing on my end. Let's see. And by the way, people have asked, what are the questions like? And they can be anything. They're usually written by, I don't get to write the questions because I literally go over as many questions as I can with you throughout the entire summer. So they know that I might even subconsciously write down a question that I asked you guys. So I don't get to write any questions. The questions are put together usually by Janice, who you guys might have met already, and a bunch of other staff members, literally a couple of hours before the pageant starts. So nobody even knows what the questions are, except that little group of people huddled in the back room. And once they put them all together on these cards, they stuff them on the envelope. And then literally 5 minutes before that segment starts, the final segment starts, the finalists start, they hand it off to one of the MCs. MCs take it out of envelopes, quickly look at them, make sure they can read them. And then essentially when you guys are finalists are called up one by one, they will, I have enough cards here. They basically will have like, all the cards face down for you to pick one. So you pick a question, which is face down. So you don't even know which one you're picking. And then they take it from you and then they read the question you pick. So you essentially get to pick your own fate, essentially that way, okay? Okay, so if you don't like your question, that's on you. Okay, but in the practice, you don't get to pick a question, I get to pick a question, which is essentially the same thing. All right, so any other questions before I start? No? All right, so let's start. Some of you guys might have heard these questions, but that's cool. That means that you guys can get a lot of these practice over and over again. Okay. Okay, here's your question, Ish. Because if you could write a book about your life, what would that title be and why?
If I could write a title about my own life, I would title it The Makings of a Flawed Person. Because as someone who is ideally a role model, I think that vulnerability and having flaws is very important. And what my book would tell is a story about how I have had to overcome adversities to become a flawed person who can become a strong role model.
Okay. Not bad. I have my feedback. Does anyone have any feedback or do you want me to just? Good job, Debbie. Very good. Thank you, Debbie. Debbie, thought that was excellent. Anyone have any feedback? No. All right. So overall, this is 37 seconds, which I took into account. You answered it in 10 seconds. In terms of you took the full 10-second grace period, which is fine. So there's actually 27 seconds. That's essentially you're leaving a lot of time on the table there for number one, right? So you could have added easily another 18 seconds if you want to give more detail. All right. Overall, the content is very good, but as many of you I've probably gone over with already, and let's do this as a class right now. There are 4 rules that I'm going over with you guys on how to do a Q&A. For those of you who remember my teaching, what's the first rule? Yes, Aaron.
Was it like, wait, I don't know which set of rules you're talking about, but is it the one where you said, don't open your mouth till you know what
Yes,
you're gonna say?
exactly. Rule number 1, do not open your mouth until you know exactly what you're gonna say. Okay, actually that's rule number 2, but that's definitely one of the rules. Rule number 1 actually is make sure you answer the question. Okay, so don't be, and I've seen some of the Miss America delegates do this, and I don't know how the judges operate, but if you're a good judge, you pay attention to this. You can, some techniques that some coaches will teach you is, oh, if you don't know the answer, then just acknowledge the question and say thank you. So example, what I've seen one time, actually this past Miss America pageant, I was there with Catherine. One of the delegates was asked, of all the difficulties that was faced in the pandemic, one of them was the 2 years of being suppressed and being left behind, where the children had to basically go to school now on Zoom. What would you do to address that problem? And her answer was, yes, that was a terrible time and a terrible problem. And the problem was especially hard for those students who were in underprivileged areas. They hit them especially hard, and something that we all as a nation have to address together. Thank you. Now, what was wrong with that answer? Yes, Hillary.
She didn't answer the question and give an actual solution to that.
Exactly, right? The question was literally, what would you do to address that problem? And her answer was, yes, that's a problem. Right? Now, some people might be like, oh my God, that's just amazing, right? She's not, yeah. Some people will be wowed by that. But if you're a good judge, like the judges we try to pick, they'll be like, sounded good, but she completely ignored the question, didn't acknowledge the question, right? And if you're a sharp judge, you probably score 0 on that because essentially you didn't acknowledge the question. We didn't respect the rules, right? So, and yes, that's something we actually do try to change when we're judges, make sure to listen carefully in the Q&As and then also in the interviews, make sure that the delegates actually are addressing the questions you ask, okay? Okay, so rule number 1, make sure you answer the question. Rule number 2, exactly what Erin said, is do not open your mouth until you know exactly what you're going to say, which is Itch did perfectly because you took the 10 seconds to do that. Hers was it the story of a flawed person? Was that your title? Yeah, so that was great, good content. You knew exactly what to say. Rule number 3, use the formula. Make sure you guys are writing these rules down, by the way, because I'm going to be testing you guys on this every week. All right, rule number 1, answer the question. Rule number 2, do not open your mouth until you know what you're going to say. Rule number 3, use the formula. Who can tell me what the formula is that I try to drill into the girls? Yes. Yes, Kylie.
Tell them what you're going to tell them, and then tell them what you told them.
Exactly. Thank you. So that literally is a formula. The formula is tell them your answer. So in Ish's case, just like the title of my book would be the story of a flawed person. Boom, right off the bat, you've answered the question. So they can't tag you on that now. Then you take the next segment of time and you try explaining why did you answer that way? What is the reason that you picked that title that is from your own personal journey or your own personal perspective that you chose that, right? And then the next segment of time, use that to recap it. And that is why the title of my book that I would choose would be The Story of a Flawed Person. I believe myself, like many people in the world, are flawed, and it takes courage to identify that and acknowledge that and work on that. We'll never be perfect, but working together and working as individuals, working as a whole, we can only become better and better and better. And so that's a good example for the future generations, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? You recap it, okay? So since you have 45 seconds, that's 3 15-second segments, all right? So the first 15 seconds, you can use that to essentially talk about what your answer is. The second 15-second segment, use that to explain why the answer was personal to you and it makes sense to you to use that. And number 3, recap, which is what I didn't get from you and your answer, which is fine because this is the first class and that we're running. But in order to have a really strong ending, recap your answer. What most people do in the world is when you ask them a question, especially, and it's fine, in just casual talking, but if you're in a formal setting, like a Q&A segment, or sometimes even in the interview, you want to use this formula. Tell them you're going to tell them, and then tell them you told them. Okay, and that's essentially how you write a speech. That's how you do a TED Talk. That's how you answer a Q&A in a pageant. These are all basic situations you can use this formal formula. It's essentially introduction, body, summary. That's all that is, okay? But you can do that in 15-second segments, all right? And that's a much stronger ending. Most people just go straight for the B part and just start telling people. The people don't even know what the answer is. They're like, oh, okay, I'm sorry, what is the answer? And then they just stop and they go, is she done? Are they finished? Is there anything else you want to add? So the ending is very important because it recaps, it reminds them again once more what your answer is. Because they might have forgotten 30 seconds ago. And it also is a signal to them that you're now done. No more stuff added. This is the completion of your answer. Okay, so rule number 3 is use the formula. And who can tell me what rule number 4 is? Yes, Kylie?
When in doubt, use your power word.
That's right. Now, thank you. Good job, Kylie. With many of you guys, I think I've worked with you to define what your power word is. If I have not, schedule time with me and we'll work through that. But essentially what your power word is your mission, your core value, the actual action that you live by that brings you inspiration and happiness and joy that you may not even be conscious of it right now. For Catherine Liang, Miss California, we worked to find out that her power word is actually courage, because everything she's ever done in her life was actually based on courage and defiance. And she was so enthralled with that she changed her entire social impact, which is the same thing as our social platform, to be called a champion of courage. So that became the entire theme of her whole Miss America talk. So if you guys haven't done that with me, message me and then I'll schedule time to do that. But your power word is something that you can always draw upon and bring in. If I'm not mistaken, Michaela, your power word is purpose, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Right. Okay. So this question was asked to you. You know, if you're gonna write a book, what would the title about your life? What would it be? And Michaela was like, "Oh, my God, what is it?" And she could always go back to rule 4 and say, "What was my power again?" All right, purpose. So let me use that as part of my answer. And she can say, "If I was gonna write a book, the title of my book would be Define Your Purpose." And then she would say, "Why is purpose important to her?" And then she explained how her life was basically centered around finding purpose and giving that meaning. And then she closed it back by saying, "And that's why the title of my book is focused on the power of purpose." Da 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 da. Da. Right? Okay, does that make sense, everybody? Okay, so remember, message me if you haven't worked on your power word with me. By the end of, hopefully by the end of next week, everyone will have a power word that they themselves have found, and I'll be there as your guide to help you figure that out. Okay. All right, good job. Let's go over to you, Aaron. You're next. You ready? Okay, that sounds like yes to me. So here, let's go with a question for you. Let me reset my timer. Yeah, let's just go ahead and do this one. Why not? Okay, Aaron, here is your question. Who is your favorite Disney character and why?
My favorite Disney character is Mulan because she's different. She doesn't, her storyline doesn't follow the usual narrative, but instead she uses her own strength and everything that defines who she is to reach her goals in life. So I would say Mulan.
Good. So 26 seconds. You started answering around 9 seconds. So that's actually 20, that's actually 15 seconds of an answer, which is not bad, but you left 30 seconds on the table. All right. So is that bad to leave more time or not use all time? No, it's okay if that's what you want, but just know this. If you're the only finalist, if you're out of 8 girls, if you're the only one that's answering 15 seconds or 20 seconds, and everyone, all your sisters are answering 40 and 45 seconds, the judges will take that into account. Basically, there are 3 things that determine how you would do in the pageant, okay, on August 12th. 1 is how you perform. 2 is how your sisters perform. And 3 is what the judges are looking for that night. Only one of those things you can control, and that's how you perform, okay? You can't judge, you know, how the girl next to you or on the other side of you can perform. That's on them. And you also cannot control what the judges are looking for. Well, I don't even know what that is. The judges don't even know what it is because they'll met each other for the first time on Thursday before, okay? So yeah, you could totally answer the questions nice and short, but if everyone else around you is using the max amount of time and you don't, that will reflect on you relative to everyone else around you, okay? So your own call, but I would say don't take that chance and try to use and maximize the time given to you the best you can, okay? But otherwise, good job, all right? All right, Marissa, you ready?
No.
Okay, good. So let's start with this one. Marissa, here is your question. What song will make you get up and dance 100% of the time and why?
The song that would make me get up and dance 100% of the time has to be Dancing Queen. It was a song that I listened to my whole childhood. It was something that my parents always played. So it really brings me back to my childhood and just having fun. And now when I hear it, it's just super nostalgic. I think of my family, I think of my childhood. So Dancing Queen is definitely the song that'll get me dancing.
Okay, good job. 21 seconds. Now you answered right away. So that literally is 21 seconds. Okay. Overall, great. I love that. You used a formula. You didn't say anything until you knew what you're going to say. You answered a question. Overall, you guys are nailing it. You guys literally can answer longer. Okay. So that's why I want us to work on this week, into at least into the next week, is don't be afraid I'm telling you, you know, how much you get deducted points, but at giving a too short answer can also not necessarily cost you points, but not give you the highest potential score you could earn from that performance as well too, okay? So you gotta walk that fine tightrope of answering, just pushing that envelope of your time. So Yashi, are you ready to give me a nice long answer of hopefully not going over time?
I'll try.
Okay, that's all I need. All right, let's try this. Remember, don't be afraid to go over time. If you go over time, it's okay to go over time in this practice right now because we literally have 11 weeks to work on this. I will pull you back and say, okay, that's a little long, but overall, you're getting it. Right now, I need to push you guys out of that comfort zone, okay, of being within the 20-second mark. All right, let's try. What is a good question for you? Okay, let's try this one. Yashi, here's your question. What is the best thing you've ever tasted and why?
Thank you for your question. And according to me, the best thing I have ever tasted is an Indian sweet dish called jalebi. It reminds me of my childhood, and it is the perfect blend of sweet and savory. It always reminds me of my grandma who used to get us these sweets in the time of in time of winters. And I have a lot of family memories from that, and it makes me nostalgic. And especially now that I cannot find it very easily in the United States, it makes me think about my family and my childhood. Thank you.
Very good. 38 seconds. So you answered pretty much right away. So that was good. So excellent. You're using almost all your time. So good job. You answered the question. You used the formula, the structure. Yeah, I'd say that was an excellent, very good answer. So yeah, that's the duration we're looking for, right around there, like high 30s, low 40s, no more than mid 40s if you can, okay? So good job. That's the duration we're looking for, a little more detail. But good job. Nicely done. Okay, let's power through a few more. We're gonna go over a little time today just because of the introductory. So we might go over a little time, but I'll try to hit the notes of everything we're gonna go over on a regular basis. So Vanessa, Tam, you're up. So let us give me a nice, strong, long answer to the question that I'm going to pick here. Here's one. Okay. Vanessa, here's your question. Do you consider yourself a feminist? And why? Or why not?
Sorry. I definitely believe I'm a feminist. I mean, I think all women deserves to have equal opportunities as men. Of course, I see the flip side of feminism. I feel like sometimes it can be blown out of proportion. I think the root of feminism is that women are just as equal and just as capable as men. So in those regards, I am a feminist, but I see the long side of it, and I think it can be simplified.
Good job. 38 seconds. So good at your part. A little bit weak on the ending, although you kind of nailed it, but not as strong as, and that's why I would not. No, that's why I would call myself a feminist, but only within those conditions. Like really nail that ending, and really amplify that, and really own that ending. Pretty much be as strong. You had a good strong beginning. I want your endings to be. Well, a lot of you guys actually have good strong beginnings. What I want to see is that ending to be as strong as your beginning. Okay, I am a feminist. This is how I define it, and as long as the definition are met, I would consider myself 1% a feminist. Period. Thank you. Right. Otherwise, good job. Good. You guys are using more of your time. All right. Michaela, you next. You ready?
Yes, ready.
Okay, let's see what we can do here. Michaela, here's your question. What is the last thing you do before you go to bed each night and why?
Thank you for your question. The last thing I do before going to bed every night is meditating. I think it's really important to take time to take stock of everything we've experienced throughout the day, and to really think about what we're grateful for. That way we can really get the most out of the day that we've had and prepare for a fresh new day. Thank you.
Okay, we started 2 seconds in, so You use 23 seconds. Okay,
Okay.
so good. I like to meditate, explain why, but again, leaving too much time on the table here, okay? You left about 20 seconds on the table, almost
Yeah,
half.
I was like really nervous for some reason.
That's okay. These next 11 weeks are designed for you to get nervous and get that nervousness out of your system, so that when the time comes for pageant night, it'll be like nothing. Like you're like, I've done this so many times. I literally can do this in my sleep now. Yeah, this is what this whole thing is about. For you guys to literally. By the way, I highly, highly, highly encourage you guys to practice amongst yourselves in between the sessions that I have. Okay, so message each other. You guys all have each other's contacts now on Facebook Messenger. Contact each other. I would say jump around, different girls and literally practice each other, and just get used to answering different questions that you guys can come up with each other. Okay. Okay, that's how the last class 2022, they scored amazingly well in the interviews and the Q&As because they practice each other as well as with these weekly classes. Okay. All right. Now let's go with Felicia. You're next. You ready, Felicia?
Yes.
Okay, that's a yes. Good. So, let's try this. Felicia, here's your question. What is something you have a hard time listening to and why?
Yeah, thank you for your question. I believe something that I have a hard time listening to these days is actually my lectures at school. And I believe a lot of people might relate to that with me. But I have been consistently working on that and focusing my energy on being able to verbally and visually learn. I have a little bit of trouble learning in lecture because I think most of my learning style is through visual and on my own practice. However, that's something that I would always want to work on and continue to improve. So I believe I have trouble currently listening to lectures, but that's something that I will currently continuously work on. Thank you.
Not bad. So you started answering within, I think, basically when I was looking at 3 seconds, which is pretty good. 50 seconds. So you answered 47 seconds and you still were fine because I think you only got docked from this because you went over the 45 second part. You only probably got docked about 100th of a point, but you definitely used all your time in the fullest capacity. So good job on that. Yeah, overall. So this is the part where we start training you to basically have more of a mental clock and what 45 seconds feel like when you talk. But that's about right. You're almost right there on point there, Felicia. I remember this is a hilarious question because I remember last year when I was testing and working with the class of 2022, I asked this question to one of the delegates, and they're like, "Oh, the thing I have a hard time listening to is my parents. I really can't stand listening." I thought it was hilarious, and she tried to explain why, and I was like, "Well, that's actually a funny answer because the judges probably like that. That's because they think I think everyone can relate." So good job. By the way, that's an example of being able to have fun with these questions too. You can totally give a humorous, funny answer. And sometimes, as long as it's like, thought out, it can actually score you extra points in that because the judges will see that as we. Okay. I thought that was a hilarious answer. Okay, Kylie, you're up. Ready?
Okay.
Let's see. There, let's go for this. Kylie, here's your questions. Or here's your question. What part of the pageant competition did you spend the most time preparing for and why?
The part of the pageant portion, the part of the pageant that I spent the most time on was my walking for the cultural attire, because I believe that first impressions are really important, and also my cultural attire really represents me. I plan to have it represent a peacock, which is part of my Chinese culture, and that's really important to me because as a Chinese folkloric dancer, I have done so solos, and it's something that's very close to me. And I think it really represents the beauty and cultural connection to my Chinese heritage. And so that is why that is the part that I spent the most time on. Thank you.
Laura, good. You started within 3 seconds. You have 44 seconds there. So about 41 seconds was used. You were talking a little fast, just a little bit on the fast side. We could slow down a little bit. And I understand you're, you know, this is nervous and energy, all that, which is what we're working on. But slow your answers down a little bit, as if you're talking like the way I'm talking right now. But you were talking just a little bit on the more fast tempo. Okay. So otherwise, great answer. You answered it great. You answered the question, you used the formula, and you knew exactly what to say for opening mouth. So overall, great job on that. Okay, May, are you ready?
Yes.
That sounds confident to me. All right, so let's go with this one. All right, May, here goes. Here's your question. What dessert would you compare yourself to, and why?
A dessert that I would compare myself to is mango sago, because I feel that the dessert has a little bit of complexity and dimension to it. It's really common in Southeast Asian countries, but also in Eastern countries. It's sweet, it's fruity, it has a variety of texture, and I think that parallels my personality and my life as an Asian American person from an immigrant family.
So you started answering around 10 seconds actually. So 28 seconds is how much time you actually used. Okay. Not bad. Still about 15 seconds still left on the table that you could use if you want to. But I like that. Good answer. You guys are actually doing very well in the content. I'm not even worried about, you guys are selected to be part of this pageant because of a lot of it is because you did so well in the interview, and they believe that you actually have the intelligence to answer these questions really well on stage. Now, my job is the next 11 weeks is to make sure that we format that in a way that is specifically designed for the rules that Mag has laid out, which is 45 seconds, and essentially the judges, you know, judging on your wittiness, your creativity, all of that stuff. But overall, you guys have good content. But don't be afraid to stretch your time out, okay? Otherwise, good job. All right, Caitlin, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
All right, see you, Caitlin. All right. All right, let's go with. Okay, let's go with this one. Caitlin, what is one word that describes your personality and why?
If I could use one word to describe my personality, it would be bubbly. I would use that word to describe my personality because I think I'm a very animated, energetic person who loves to see the good side of things and who's always optimistic. I find myself always looking at the brighter side of things instead of moping on the more sadder side. And I believe that despite all unfortunate circumstances, there's always a good side and people should always focus on that. So if I would use one word to describe myself, I would use bubbly. Thank you.
Good job. 39 seconds, and you answered almost right away. So you used pretty much almost all your time. So that's a good job. And yeah, well done. You did the whole formula, and you made sure you answered the question. So good. Just keep that up. I would say the only thing we work on is making sure that we make the answer maybe a little more smooth. But otherwise, you did great on your first try. Well done, Caitlin. Let's jump over to Kelly. Kelly, you ready?
I think so.
Yeah. All right. That sounds like a yes to me. All right. Kelly, here's your question. If you could travel in time, where and when would you go and why?
Thank you, Francis, for your answer. Your question. If I could travel in time to any time period, I would actually travel back to when my mom was still in her 20s. I would really love to meet her before she met my dad, and I would love to hang out with her and just see how she became the person she is today. And that is why I would travel to that time period. Thank you, Francis.
Good job. About 28 seconds. You answered in 3 seconds into the buffer zone. So that's about 25 seconds actually. Good job. I like that. That's a good answer. I think it's very personal. Again, leaving a lot of time on the table there, about 20 seconds on the table. So I like it though. But yeah, I want you guys to work on, as you guys work with each other, time each other and really push each other, get to that like 40-second period, 40-second to 45-second. High 30s is fine too. But if you're answering a question to only half of your allotted time and everyone else is using almost the full time, it will reflect on your score. Okay. Hillary, you ready?
Hi, Francis. Sure.
All right. Good job. Let's deal with this. Yeah, why not use? Okay, Hillary, here is your question. If you have a boat, what would you name your boat and why?
Thank you, Francis, for the question. If I have a boat, I would name my boat as representation. First of all, it is a privilege to own a boat, but at the same time, I think it is really important for us to consider what people that we're going to invite on the boat. So first of all, I would invite people that are less fortunate to not have a chance to go on a boat, to come on my boat and actually talk about our lives and also learn about their lives as well. I think it's really important for us to think about representation, and I would definitely love to use my boat to represent that idea. And second reason why I would name my boat as representation is because I feel like ocean actually covers a lot of our, like about 70 or 80% of our surface area on the earth. And it represents a huge part of our earth. And we could bring that representation around the world in order for us to bring a better representation of our culture and our life. So I would name my boat as representation. Thank you.
Good. 1 minute and 8 seconds. So,
Oh my God, I'm the first one to overrun, but yeah, okay.
yeah, that's good. You have a lot of good content and you really were able to, I would say, I probably wouldn't go 2 reasons why. Right? If you stopped at that one reason, you would have been perfect. It would have been exactly 45, 43 seconds right there. You answered within the 3 seconds of the end of the question, so you were very close to almost immediately answering it. But yeah, in a situation like this, even though I want you guys to use it full time, do not make your answer more complex than needs state. When they ask, what is this? You probably have not probably, you definitely only have enough time to do one reason of why that's the answer you chose. Okay, you don't need to have 2, 3 reasons. Unless the question says, give me 3 reasons why, and you're like, okay, you have to be very quick in your head. These are 3 reasons, boom, boom, boom. Explain 1, boom, explain 2, boom, explain 3, and boom. These are 3 reasons once again, boom, 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 right? Just be very brief and use your time. But just know that you have 4 or 5 seconds, really, in terms of before points are being deducted. Okay, so overall, that was a great answer, really well thought out, but that's also equal to a full point deduction right there too. Okay, so otherwise, great job though.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Okay, Vanessa Mai, are you there? Hi, Vanessa.
Hey, everyone.
You ready?
No, but let's go.
Awesome. You're always ready. You just don't know it yet. Okay, here goes. Vanessa, here is your question. What is one food everyone loves, but you hate, and why?
I think that one food that everyone loves, especially as Asian, but I hate is rice. It's gonna be funny because I'm actually allergic to rice. So whenever I eat rice, it just me feel very bloated. I feel very confident about myself. But you know what? it actually reminds me of my Chinese root, my mom's family, because my mom's Chinese, my dad is actually Turkic. So rice is pretty much a love and hate relationship. Everybody love it, I hate it, but honestly, it reminds me of home and family. So yes, rice, everyone love it, but I hate it. But it's also a love and hate relationship.
Great, 52 seconds, which is, and you started answering 10 seconds in, so it's actually 42. So good, you stayed within time, used almost all your time. Very good, you answered the question, you explained why. Wow, I didn't think I ever need an agent who didn't like rice, but okay, that's awesome, love it. So good job, really good answer, and you used pretty much all the rules you needed to, so excellent, well done, May. Sorry, May, not May. Well done, Vanessa. I'm seeing the word May there. Good job. Well done. All right. Vivian Zhang, you there?
Yep,
All right, Vivian, you're up. You ready for this?
I'll try.
Yes, you are. Okay. Here goes, Vivian. Here's your question. What is one thing you want but you can't buy with money, and why?
Thank you, Francis, for that question. One thing that I want but I can't buy with money would definitely be happiness. Happiness comes in so many different forms, and although I do feel a lot of happiness from traveling, I realize now, at the older I get, that a lot of it comes from the root of many things and understanding and feeling gratitude for things that I already have. One thing that I do before I sleep every night is write down one thing that I'm grateful for, and that has helped me a lot with my happiness. Thank you.
So good. You pretty much started answering in 3 seconds. It's 37 seconds, so they usually use 34 seconds. Not bad. You left about 10 seconds on the table. Could use a little more time, but still overall not bad. So happiness was your answer. Explain why. You recapped it. Overall good. Not bad. Well done. Maybe a little more detail, but otherwise good job. Okay. Vivian Tran, you ready?
Hi, Francis and Jelly. I'm ready. I just can't turn my camera on because I'm traveling. Is that okay? So sorry about that.
Absolutely, no worries. And yes, everyone, we have two
Okay.
Vivians and we have 2 Vivians this year in your class.
That's right.
All right. So let's see. Okay, let's try this question here for you.
Okay.
Vivian, here is your question. What did you want to be when you grew up as a kid, and why?
Thank you for your question, Francis. As a kid, I really wanted to grow up to be a pediatrician. As I grew older, I really gravitated towards healthcare. However, I realized that my path was in law, so I'm not pursuing that currently. But the answer to that question would be a pediatrician because I really like working with children and I wanted to be in healthcare. Thank you for your question.
Yep. 23 seconds. You almost answered, you pretty much answered right away, but you're still leaving a good 20 seconds on the table there. So more detail. Vivian. Otherwise, great answer in terms of, I want to maybe explore a little bit, you can add more about what first inspired you, what do you want to leave behind in being pediatrician, but what now has led you to going down the path of law?
Okay.
You do that, okay?
Fill in the space, thank you.
Sure, good job otherwise. All right, Mayfree. Ready? Are you there?
Hi, Francis. I'm trying my best.
Great. Do you have a camera?
Yes, just a moment. Hi, sorry, my room is messy.
No worries. No worries. This is not a pageant day, so you guys can come onto the class dressed in any way you guys want to. I really don't care. This is all about just practicing the public speaking right now. All right. All right, Mayfree, here is your question. How would you define beauty and why?
Thank you for your question, Francis. For me, beauty is beauty is it needs to be beauty from inside and outside. That's, for example, when I see the person that have beauty outside, and I would like to to know her and make friends with her. And yeah, and now I can learn that. Sorry, Francis, I'm not very ready. I just got home.
Yeah, okay. Yes. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna stop time. Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say one of my favorites, I did not know what your answer is.
Yes.
Right, as I was asking you how do you define beauty, and you started telling me that beauty comes from both places. You need to be very, very clear right off the bat. When I say how do you define beauty, I think what I was thinking of gathering from what you're saying is, I'm gonna say beauty is the presence, not just from the external, but also from the inner presence of the person. So I define beauty as the energy, the aura, the energy and vibration that person exudes. And then you start explaining why that's the case, right? And then why that's people that you're attracted to and what you also try to share in the world. And then you redefine it. So once again, my definition of beauty actually comes from the inside, not so much the outside, as we all are so used to seeing and defining it by, but truly from who she is, what she does, what her mission is, what her impact is in the world, what has she done with the challenges in her life, and how she overcome that to become a better person. And that is how I would define the true meaning of the word beauty. Thank you. Something like that.
That's really nice answer.
Yeah, I've been just making that shit up. But basically, that's essentially how you could answer what I think is what you were trying to convey, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's
No.
what I try to explain.
Okay, no worries. Well done. But yeah, I can come back to you or I can work with you on the next class. All right. Who is 415-572 calling in from the phone?
Hi, it's Sylvia. I'm just in the car right now, out and about, so I can't do my camera.
Okay, Sylvia, are you ready to answer a question?
Yes, I am.
All right, Sylvia, let's try this. All right, Sylvia, here's your question. What do you love most about yourself and why?
Thank you so much for this question. What I love about myself is how I interact with others. I really like to find common things that I can connect with people. I like to know about their passions and what they're passionate about and share common interests and have meaningful relationships and conversations. And I think that is what I love myself most, being able to connect with others. Thank you.
All right, good. Yeah, started answering right away. So, and you're in at 35 seconds. So that's good. Pretty good. 35 seconds out of 45 seconds. And you made it very clear what you love about yourself, being able to connect people, you explain that and recapitulate it again. So overall, good job. Well done there, Sylvia.
Thank you.
Excellent. And might as well go with you, Debbie. You want to try?
Okay.
Okay. By the way, Debbie is Debbie, have you officially dropped out?
Yeah. Oh, well, I think so. Well, I didn't hear anything back from Vincent, but
Okay. All right. No. So Debbie is one of your pageant sisters, but she, because of her schedule this summer of traveling, she doesn't feel like she's ready. But I told her, you're welcome to be in these practices. These practices are open to you guys anyways. So she's gonna just essentially learn if she's gonna be able to come and visit with you guys during pageant week. I'm gonna put her back there as one of your helpers to get you guys dressed in and out of your dressing rooms in your class. So hopefully by August 11th and August 12th, Debbie, we hope to see you in person here, okay?
I'll try.
Okay. Okay. Here's your question, Debbie. Let's just go ahead and give you a try here. What is something you wish everyone knew about you and why?
One thing I wish everybody knows about me is my explorative spirit, because on the outside, I might look very introverted because I don't really like to talk to people, but in my inner self, I'm very vibrant. I like to explore different interests. I like to do biology, I like to do dancing, I like to do engineering, and I want everybody to know that I'm very multidisciplinary and I like to explore many different things. Thank you.
Good job. 33 seconds to answer right away. Well done. Yeah.
That was a very horrible answer.
Overall, you guys all did good. The only feedback right now I have for you guys is for general and everyone. try to stretch your answers out to as close to 40 seconds as possible. 45 seconds, that's your maximum, but at least as close to 40 seconds as possible in your brain mentally, okay? So get used to that when you guys are practicing with each other, time each other, and trust me, by the end of 11 weeks, you will have that like locked into your brain. You will know exactly what 40 seconds feels like, okay? All right.
What if you don't really know what to say and you're just blabbering at that point? Like, I feel like it's just.
You can end it, but like I said, the judges will compare you to how everyone else answers and how long their answer is as well too. Right? So it is to your best interest to stretch out the answer with as much facts and details as you can, as close to what a mental 45 seconds feels like in your head. Okay? There's no penalty for going under time, but it doesn't mean they will give you the full points either for that either, okay? All right, so I want to talk a little bit about 30 minutes before we come to close on this. Of course, if you guys want to go a little long, we can, but at 8 o'clock PST is when we start the first session of Emily's. I'll be in there too to observe. I cannot wait to see this because this is our first time having the virtual walking session. So thankful for Emily doing this. We were missing this in 2022. And if you saw the scores that I showed you, a lot of girls did really, really well in the speaking part. And then there was a huge disparity between the girls who were just walking on stages. The ones who took it seriously and took it upon themselves to practice did very well and scored in top 10, top 5. And the ones who didn't take it that seriously or didn't have the discipline to keep on practicing on their own, definitely scored way, way above. There was like this huge spectrum of difference there. So what Emily is doing this summer is making sure to hold you guys accountable, literally accountable every week on how you guys are walking and improving so that we can avoid that this year like we saw last year and keep everyone in that same high standard on both walking and speaking as well, okay? All right. I want to shift gears now and talk about your social platform. So I do need all of you to send me a first draft of your social platform between now and next Wednesday, the 31st, okay? In a paragraph form. Now, before you send it to me, I need you to time it yourself. And have a little timer right there on your phone and read through it Kylie, make sure you read it in a nice normal pace, nothing fast, a nice normal pace as if you're speaking to someone in the pitch. And make sure it's within 45 seconds because you will be deducted if you go over 45 seconds, the same rules as applies to the Q&A. 100th of a point every 5 things you're over and a full point once you're over a minute, okay? So send it to me. Don't send it to me like a whole page of the Francis, can you help me shrink this down? Yeah, I could, but you could probably do that yourself too. So if you could already do that yourself, then I can work with you from that point onward to really fine tune it, okay? So send me a paragraph that you've already timed that fits within a 45-second recital of you speaking it in a normal pace, okay? And then once I see that with you, I can schedule time with you guys or edit with you asynchronously to make it sound as sharp and concise, but within your own tone as possible, okay? So I need that from you guys. You guys send it to me anytime between now and Wednesday, and because starting by next week, we're going to start probably reciting that at least part of the speaking parts. Okay, so I want to start doing recitals of that as soon as possible. I think the final version of this is going to be due within 2 weeks of this week. Okay, so you have 1 week to get the first draft, the second draft, I think, and then the final draft is going to be the week after that. And after that, no more alterations, no more changing or anything like that. From that point on, we're just going to work on memorization and essentially presentation. Okay, if you want to know again, look at the link I sent you in the thread, the whole class thread, the link of Catherine Liang. I worked with her pretty much the entire summer to put that thing together. And she did a great job on that in Miss America. That is what we are getting you guys to. Oh, and of course, during the summer, we'll be working on your slide. So you guys will have to put together a slide. If you want, you can start sending me ideas of that now too. Doesn't matter. Okay, so you want to jump on that? Feel free to jump on that too. But I definitely, by next week, I need your very first draft that's been timed of your professional or your social impact platform, okay? Okay, so we're not gonna do that today because we don't have that much to work with. We will spend the rest of the time to do some interviews, okay? Oh, but any other questions about social platform?
I have a question.
Yes, Caitlin?
You said shrink it down. What does that mean?
Oh, make sure, like, some girls have sent me like, what do you think, Francis? And I like, even Catherine did this. I'm like, this is way too long. She goes, I know, I need help cutting it down. Like, all right, try, if you really need help cutting it down, then send me something. You're like, Francis, I cut this down as much as I can. It's still like a minute and a half. I don't know what to cut out. Then you can send me that. Like, try to cut it down as much as you possibly can. If you can make it with 45 seconds, great, send it to me, you know, within 40 seconds. But if you can't get it down to any more than whatever it is, hopefully nothing more than a minute or something like that, then send it to me and I can schedule time to work with you on that to condense it down into 45 seconds. You could actually even use ChatGPT to do that. You can say, ChatGPT, can you change this to fit in 45 seconds? And they can actually do that, which is fucking crazy. I love it. But that's awesome. So don't be afraid to use AI systems if you need to.
Oh, I see. Also, do we just like send it to you on Facebook Messenger, or do you
Yeah,
have?
you can send it, or you can just email it to me directly, or you can direct message me on Messenger.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. All right. Any other questions about social platform preparation?
This is just my curiosity, but can we just submit the one that we submitted for our application?
Yeah, you solely can. If that's what you truly want to present, then that's great. Make sure to try to get it in a 45-second format. When I say 45 seconds, like you've already read through it in time yourself. Yep.
I wanted to ask, for social media, is it supposed to like exemplify our social platform, or is it like our personal social media?
That's something that you probably need to talk to Sydney or Crystal about. I don't really work with I don't really work with them on social media that much. I can tell you that you can definitely reflect, but it's not required to reflect your platform on that much, but they will have more specific instructions. So I don't know if you have contact with Sydney yet, but she's definitely on the Facebook group that you guys are all invited to now, I believe, right? So you can contact her there, or you can contact Crystal directly. You guys have Crystal's contact?
I have her email.
Okay, that's fine. You can definitely email her. And she can connect you directly with Sydney unless she can answer it herself directly, okay? But I usually don't touch the social media just because I already have enough on my plate to worry about. So they take care of that for me, or for Meg.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions about social platform? No? All right, good. So let's go into some interviews. So let's do a few interviews. So the way we're going to do interviews is this. I'll pick on one person and everyone else around me is going to be a judge. And you can ask that person any question you want to. I don't even need to, I'll just go around picking who will be the head judge, and the head judge will start the questions, and then I'll just call on the next person to be the next judge. Okay, so, and I'll do this, normally the interview lasts for 7 minutes, but in interest of time and everyone here, we're just gonna do probably, say, let's just try 3 minutes and see how that works. If that's too long, we'll maybe just bring another 2 minutes, but let's just try 3-minute interview. So Caitlin, you're in the hot seat. You are the delegate that we're going to interview. And Aaron, you're going to be the head judge. You start off the interview, and I'm going to call on Marissa and Felicia until we run out of time, okay? So you guys are interviewing her, and she's going to be the one that's basically, answering as fast as you can. Are you guys ready?
Is this like the interview part, like when we tell them about ourselves?
Yep, you can. But of course, that all depends on what Aaron asks you.
Oh.
So if Aaron says, tell me about yourself, bring out that question, that answer that I've trained you to do. But if she goes, so, now, Caitlin, tell me, what's your favorite flavor of ice cream? Then you probably had to answer it that way. But you can draw in on your tell me about yourself. I would almost like not worry about that in this practice session because we're kind of short on time for everybody. I would say use this time to answer the more random questions because you guys probably already know yourself, or you probably know each other pretty well, or you will know each other pretty well at this point. I would say you can ask any questions you want to, but make them challenging if you can. push each other and really like get a feel for what it's like to be both a judge and a delegate with people watching you. Okay.
Yeah, because I was just wondering if I was supposed to like talk for 3 minutes or is
No,
this
no. Yeah, I would say skip the tell me about yourself part during our training sessions. I can definitely go over that with you guys one-on-one if you need to reinforce that. But this is more for us to practice random questions that'll be asked the way the judges, but most of the interviews can be conducted. Okay.
okay?
Perfect. All right, but that's a great question, Caitlin. All right, Caitlin, you ready?
Mhm.
All right, judges, I hope you're ready. Let's start with Erin. Erin, you're the head judge. Fire your first question at Caitlin.
Hi, Caitlin. Tell me about a time that you felt unworthy and what you learned from that experience.
One time I felt unworthy was during my English class where I got a bad grade on an essay. Going into English, I felt that I was a very strong writer, but being in honors Afrocentric literature, I felt almost average in that class. And since I got a bad score on my essay, it made me step back and realize how I was writing and how I can improve in the future. And so I asked my teacher for help, and I personally think I'm a much stronger writer. Thank you.
Marissa?
Hi, Caitlin. In your opinion, what is the key to success?
I believe the key to success is constantly growing. I believe that people always go through mistakes and they shouldn't be something one should dwell on. Mistakes are used to grow and to improve. And so that is how I go through personal problems. Thank you.
Felicia?
Hi, Caitlin. What would you say was the biggest adversity that you have faced?
Could you describe adversity?
Yes, like a challenge that you had to face?
I believe one challenge I faced recently was being on varsity water polo. I haven't played water polo for very long, and this year was actually my first year on varsity water polo for my school team. And so I was very scared because moving from JV to varsity is a huge challenge and it was a lot more competitive. But by the end of the season, I felt like I improved a lot. And I believe that I am prepared for next year if I make varsity water polo. Thank you.
Vanessa? Pam?
What is your least favorite food and why?
My least favorite food is actually chocolate. I believe that chocolate is a little sweet, a little too sweet. And I feel like if you have a lot of chocolate over time, it can become very overbearing and almost too overbearing and just too sweet. Thank you.
Okay. Michaela?
Oh, sorry about that. Question, if you could be any noodle, what noodle would you be and why?
If I could be any noodle, I would choose the macaroni noodle because one of my favorite foods is macaroni and or mac and cheese. And I love the shape. It's so unique. And I love how it's like a straw, but it's short. So it's not as messy like spaghetti or linguine. Thank you.
And I'm going to pause there because you literally only have 5 seconds left. So overall, what do you guys think? Any feedback for?
That was really, really good. Very confident. Good job.
Well done. Oh, and by the way, this is our little baby. Caitlin is 17 years old, still a junior in high school. So well done. I'm
proud of you.
Yeah, we're very proud. Thank you for joining the pageant so early on. If you have this as a starting pad for yourself, Caitlin, you're gonna just excel beyond so many of your friends. You can actually talk to Felicia. Felicia literally did her pageant right before she went to college, and from my understanding, it really changed her life too. So you should definitely talk with Felicia there.
All right, thank you.
Absolutely. Well, oh yeah, there will be a timer. I'll also do this now. No, this means that there's like 10 seconds left, and this is the countdown. There will be a visible timer in the actual room with even the judges. So the way it works is there'll be 7 or 8 judges there that you've never met before. In fact, we will only have met them we will know who they are. We will met them in person all together for the first time that Thursday that you guys will basically be interviewed. So it's just gonna be the 7 or 8 judges in the room, myself as both I'm not gonna timekeep, my sister will be a timekeeper. I'll be video recording you guys, And I think that's pretty much it. There might be Jill that might be in there to take photos and document the moment. That's really about it. That's the only people that'll be in that room. And there'll be a timer and there'll be a countdown. So you'll know when you're almost out of time. There are some stupid moves that judges sometimes do. I call them dick moves because sometimes you'll look at a timer, you'll finish a question and you'll see the timer and there'll be like 18 seconds left. And the judge will be like, oh, Caitlin, in like 18 seconds, tell me, what's the stereotype of all Asian people? Like they'll say stuff like that. And I've seen that happen. And so you gotta be able to think what to say in like 18 seconds if they want to squeeze in that last question. So watch that clock. If you see that you're coming down to the time and if you end your answer when there's like somewhere between 10 or 20 seconds left, that's enough for them to ask a question. But you can make a judgment call and say, I'm going to stretch my answer out a little bit longer now. So this is the last question I need to answer and not have to squeeze in a 5-second answer if they put that on me. So make that judgment call. Okay, but you'll usually be able to see the countdown go from 7 minutes to 0 seconds, okay? Yes, Aaron?
And they won't tell you when your 7 minutes is over. You just have to watch the clock yourself.
Yeah, the clock is gonna be right there where you and the judges can both see it together.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's right there corner of your eye. There's a lot of stuff to juggle, but you're answering questions and also out of the corner of your eye, peripheral vision, you'll be seeing the countdown. Yes, Marissa?
Are there points deducted if you go over time in the interview?
Nope. I will cut you off. I will literally cut you off. There's no overtime interview. So that's what I'm saying. In the middle, even if you're in the middle of an answer, I will cut you off. Right? That's my other job in that interview. This is to keep it fair. So even if you're like, my favorite noodle is, sorry, that's all time we have, I will literally have to do that. Or if they ask you in the middle of the time, so what's your favorite? And I will have to cut them off. So I'm sorry, that's all time we have. So whether the judge is speaking or you're speaking, if the time hits 0, I'm cutting people off. Okay, so you won't have any point deduction because you won't get to finish. Okay, but that also could be very awkward if you get cut off in the middle, right? Okay, any other questions about the interview?
Yep, I have a question. So the questions that the judges are gonna ask you are about what will be based on your resume and everything you submitted, or would it more of the Q&A style that we just did?
They can do anything they want to. They'll have your resume. Well, they usually have your resume and they'll have your program book information as well too. Okay. But they can, and they'll also have this is almost exactly like the interviews with the senior staff. They'll also have a list of questions, about 10 questions they can ask off of as well too. But they can also ignore everything. Some judges don't even read anything and just like, I just want to know them blind. I just want to know them from the 7 minutes. Others will read everything down to the detail and have one specific question you want to ask when it's their turn. Okay. They don't even listen to anyone else. They just want to know how you answer that one question that they have. Others will just basically pick up the sheet. So I can't really tell you because I've seen it all across the spectrum.
Sure, sounds exciting.
Hi, Erin. Who's no, that's not Erin. That's like Marissa's friend. Hi, Marissa. Who's your friend?
This is Joey. He wants to be part of the pageant.
Hi, Joey. Welcome to the pageant. I said that's right. Erin has a dog.
Yes, a very cute puppy. Maru, come here. Come here.
Let's make this a show and tell.
Right here. This one is mine. Hi, Joey.
Joey has a brother too. He looks just like him though. So I won't go get him. There's 2 of them.
Yeah, it's a daycare center now. Okay. All right. So yeah, so they can ask you anything. So it could be random questions, sorry, or it could be questions very specific to what you have in your resume or on your program book, or it could be something off of that piece of paper that's completely like random. It doesn't do with anything like that. Okay, so that's why I'm picking random questions for us to practice with, but I'm also asking you guys to pick random questions because if you can answer random questions, that's a hell lot easier for you to later on answer questions specific for you guys. Okay, and as you guys get to know each other, you can start zeroing in on questions specific to each other. Okay. Again, for you guys, welcome, Angela. All right, so we're gonna practice till about 7:30. that'll be the official quit time. Anyone who wants to take a 30-minute break can go ahead and do that and get ready for Emily's thing at 8 o'clock. If you guys want, I can go on for a little longer past that. But anyone who wants to drop off and take a break, 1%. So let's power through the rest of this interview and see where we can go. Okay. So Erin, you're next. Are you ready for the hot seat?
Okay.
That's a yes. All right, let's start with 3-minute interview here. Hillary, you're the head judge. Go for it.
Sure. Hi, Erin. I heard that you're going into med school. So what got you into it, and what got you into it? Why do you want to go into that med school?
Well, med school is the first decision that I ever made on my own. Before that, going into college, I was a journalism major, and that was my mother's goal for me. She was a single parent, and I wanted to validate her struggles by achieving whatever she wanted me to achieve. But halfway throughout college, I realized that I'm really interested in healthcare, and I really appreciate the effect that good healthcare can have on vulnerable populations. And so I started shadowing some physicians and taking more biology courses. And eventually I decided that this is the career that aligns most with my own values.
I'm going to jump around with the judges. Right? Angela, you're the next judge.
Sorry, your audio cut out. Could you please repeat your question?
You're the next judge. What's your question for Erin?
Erin, thank you so much for sharing. My question for you is, what is a life motto that you live by currently?
I live by the motto, it's my job to like me, not you, not yours. And it might sound a little brusque, but that has helped me get through a lot of situations in my life where I've just had to accept some people don't like you, and there's nothing you can really do about it. And that just makes me appreciate the people who are in my corner that much more.
Yashi, you're the next judge.
Okay, for my question to you is, what according to you is the quality that separates you from the other delegates?
Okay, this is a really good question. I would say that that is a really hard question. Well, I guess I guess my sense of humor is a little bit different from everybody else's in that it's dry, but it's also kind of weird, and not everyone really gets it. So I would say my sense of humor.
Vanessa Mai, you're the judge.
Hey, Erin, if you want the title of Miss Asian Global, what is that one person you want to thank the most?
I would want to thank my therapist the most. She has seen me go through the ups and downs of my life this past year. And when I brought up the idea of entering this pageant, she was 100% on board, even though not everybody in my life was. So I would thank her.
Good job. 4 seconds left. Well done. So overall, good job. Any feedback for Erin? No? Great job, Erin, except a little struggle on that. What makes you different than everyone else?
I know.
Now, that is a very, very common question for both an interview as well as an even more popular question that I'll ask you on stage to put you in the spot. And it comes to the form of what makes you different than everyone else? Why should you win this title? What makes you best fit for Miss Asian Global? Basically, it's a question to see whether or not they can get you to brag or sound arrogant or anything like that, right? So yeah.
How would you say that without being cocky? Like,
So if they ask like, what makes you different than all the other delegates, the first thing that I would approach this is first to acknowledge everyone else and say like, I think if the question was what makes you different than all the other delegates here, you can say, I think all of us are unique and different, and we all bring our unique stories, and we learn from each other, and we grow. And I've grown so much with my sisters here today. My story that I bring that I think is unique to me, and then you start telling your story. Okay. So the first thing to do is acknowledge everyone else around you. If they ask, why should you win the Miss Asian Global title? The first thing to say is, everything that I've learned here in the last summer shows me that every one of my sisters is qualified to be Miss Asian Global. If I was lucky enough to be chosen to get that title, this is what I would do with it. Here, do you see how I'm approaching this? Tell me how anyone here, tell me how I'm approaching this.
So is basically say that everybody is special because they are, but then like brag a little bit in a humble manner.
Yes, basically say, if I was lucky, not like I should get this. So you basically twist it around like, I don't think I deserve this because I'm special. But if I am lucky enough to get this is what I would do with it. Right? And it's up to you, judges, to think what I'm worthy of, that's worthy or not of the title. Okay. Okay, great job overall. You guys are doing great. All right, let's jump over to Marissa. You're in the hot seat. Ready, Marissa?
Yes.
Okay, let's start off with Judge Ish.
Hi, Marissa. Hope you're doing well. My first question for you is, why did you decide to enter this pageant?
Thank you for your question. I actually did the pageant back in 2020. So everything, I talked to my best friend and she had such an amazing experience, really wanting to like grow and push herself out of her comfort zone. And I was really feeling stuck, especially during the pandemic. And so I really wanted to try to challenge myself in new ways as well and do something that completely scares me and is not something that I would normally do in hopes of growing.
Sylvia. Yep. Judge.
Hi, thank you for being here. My question for you is, what location makes you the happiest and why?
I would say the place that makes me happiest is probably the gym. I really love like working out. It gives me endorphins, and I feel like you have to feel great and like work on yourself on the inside to feel good on the outside. And I meet so many amazing people that I get to talk to about like why they're there, what they're doing, and I get to learn a lot of new exercises. So I love the gym.
Judge Mayfree.
Hi, Marissa. If you can choose the last place that you can go, where would you want to go?
I would love to go to Hong Kong. So that's where my mom is from and that's where she grew up. And so I would love to go to like the city, and if the house is still there, I'd love to visit that as well to kind of see what my mom was doing and like the environment that she lived in before she came to America and gave me this life that I have here.
Judge Vivian Schramm. Oh, I think we're having some trouble hearing you, Vivian. Is it bad connection? Okay, that's okay. We can come back to you next time. Vivian, that's okay. Let me jump off another judge. No worries, no worries. Oh, you're in the hot lobby. Okay, let me know when you are back into a better connection and I can just come back to you. All right, well then let's go to Judge Caitlin. Your question. From Marissa.
If you could take a song lyric from a song that best describes you as a person, what would the song lyric be and why?
That's a very good question. I think a song lyric that would best describe me. It's actually a very hard question. I listen to a lot of music, so I don't really know for that one. I'm sorry.
Okay, we're gonna pause right here. So any feedback right now on you were doing great, Marissa. Right up another question that Caitlin asked. So what happened?
I don't know. I listen to a lot of music, but I don't really listen, like I don't dissect lyrics, so I don't memorize them. And there's not one line that's ever like really stood out to me. It's like, ah, yes, this is my line, this is my song. I don't have a favorite song. So that's like what made it really tricky for me to answer that question, just because there was nothing that ever really related to me in a song.
Okay. So
Maybe I
here-
should write my own.
You totally could if you wanted to. Here's one piece of advice for everyone here. Always have a song title or a song lyric in your back pocket in case one of these questions come up. What is, because this is what happens almost always. You'll have all these lyrics in your head and they'll say, give me a lyric, and all of a sudden all those lyrics disappear. Like, because that one question was asked, or give me the title of your favorite song, and you have all these favorite songs, and all of a sudden that question is asked, and you can't remember any of your favorite songs anymore. So have in your back pocket a song that you like and why. Like, what's your favorite song to dance to? What's your favorite? That could be like, that's one song for almost any kind of one song question, and lyrics in case they ask you that, just so that you don't get caught off guard like that. Okay. So always have those things in your pocket, and or a favorite book. You know, at least that, a book, song title, and some lyrics. Okay. Whether it's true or not doesn't matter. You just have to have something you can say. Okay. All right. And we pretty much almost are up to time right now. You only have like 12 seconds left. So overall, well, I'll just end it there. But overall, good job, Marissa. You're answering them pretty well, except right up into the last question. Okay. But otherwise, well done. Now it's almost 7:28. You guys all want to pause here, stop here, and give yourself a 30-minute break before the walking? Do some of you guys want to drop off, or do any of you guys want to go on for like another 15 minutes? Do you guys have any? Yep, yes, 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 Caitlin?
I want to stay.
Okay, yes. Sorry. So anyone who, I'll be gone for another 15 minutes now. So you guys can at least get a 15-minute. Anyone who goes to drop off is more than welcome to drop off. Okay. All right, here goes. So let's jump over to Felicia. All right. You ready for a hot seat?
Sure.
All right, great. Let's do who would be a good opening judge. All right, let's go. Vanessa Tam, you are our judge to open up with. Please give your question to Felicia.
Hi, Felicia. If you could be born anywhere in the world, where would you be born?
If I could be born anywhere in the world, I would still choose to be born in the US. I believe that I have had a lot of privileges being born in America and California to my Asian immigrant parents, and I always attribute my successes to, honestly, like both of my parents and their sacrifices immigrating from China to the US.
Judge Michaela.
What is one book that you are reading, and what are your main takeaways from it?
One book that I'm reading currently is Crying in H Mart. I really enjoy reading that book because of her ability to express the troubles that she had growing up, living with Asian immigrant parents, but growing to really understand her parents' perspectives. And I believe one takeaway that I have from this book is really the importance of connecting with your parents who you might have a generational and cultural gap, especially as an immigrant and also as a daughter. We oftentimes have conflicts with parents because of our differences, the differences in our generation, and especially as an immigrant, our differences in culture. But this book has made me appreciate more my relationship with my mom.
Judge May.
What is your favorite way to express yourself?
My favorite way of expressing myself is through dance. I was never a big dancer growing up, but in college, I actually joined a dance team with one of my best friends. And it was honestly one of my favorite things that I did in college. And I really enjoyed joining that dance team because I was able to, during the busy days of school, I would still have that dedicated time to really move my body and feel the music. And that was really when I felt really the most myself. And
Yeah, I really want to go back to dancing. That's when I feel like I can be the most expressive and myself.
Judge Kelly?
If you can describe yourself as a color, what color would you choose?
Thank you. I love that question. My favorite color has always been pink. And even though a lot of people view pink as a very girly color, I believe it allows women to really truly express whatever they're feeling in their
So be careful. Whenever I'm doing that, that means you'll be cut off in that time, okay? So
Yeah.
pay attention, like, you know, and that's also you paying attention to the clock in the actual judges room. You definitely want to close it up as gracefully as possible when you see the clock tick down to 0, okay? Otherwise, great job. Any feedback for Felicia? No? Okay.
I have a question.
Yep.
Okay, so if you get cut off, even if you don't lose points for that, but if it's like disgraceful, then like, does that negatively affect your score?
It's up to the judges, to be honest. Some judges are very forgiving, like, oh, that's fine, it was not her fault. Others like, she should have kept an eye on her time. And again, that's why I'm telling you guys, you know, MAG is one of the most unpredictable pageants because the staff members have no say whatsoever in the titles. And you only get invited to be a MAG judge once in your life. Once you're a MAG judge, you're never invited to be a MAG judge again. And therefore, we can't predict what the judges will do because we don't have any data from how they voted the last year because they're not the same judges from last year. So every year is a crap shot for us in terms of like how the outcome's going to be. So yeah, some judges are like, oh, that's okay. That, you know, that was such a great answer, but I wish I heard more of it. I like where it was going with it. Others are like, she didn't keep her track for time. They're also going to compare that girl with like the girl before and the girl after and the before for that person, after that person. And if everyone is able to keep a good track of their time and that one girl wasn't, that could rank negatively for her as well too. So again, remember 3 things, right? How you perform, how everyone else performs, and what the judges are looking for that day. Those are the 3 things that determines how you do as far as scoring wise in the pageant, okay? Any other questions about the interview? No? All right. Yes, Callie.
Actually, I do have a question. Are we standing or are we sitting? Like, is there like a podium if we're standing?
No, there's no podium. There's a chair there, so you're 100% allowed to sit. You can just stand next to the chair too, which is some Western girls do too. And that is interesting question you asked that because last year, and this happens a few times a year. Most girls walk right in and because they see the chair, and the judges are obviously sitting down, they will just automatically sit down, and that's totally fine. Of course, please make sure if you sit down and you're wearing a dress, please cross your legs. It's just basic etiquette, okay? If you're the only girl that stands and everyone else sits, some judges, and I've seen this, will ask you, why are you choosing to stand for this interview? Because they only ask it because everyone else decided to sit. And some girls have asked, because I'm way too nervous to be sitting down right now. That's how some girls answer as well too. So just know that, again, how you perform, how everyone else performs, and what they're looking for, those 3 things constantly every second of the pageant. So yeah, you have a seat there, but you're not required to sit. It's up to you. But most girls that I've observed do sit just because they see the seat there and they also see the judges sitting. Okay? But you're not required to if you don't want to. Okay? Any other questions about the judges interview? No? Okay. So we got another 10 minutes to kind of play around with this. Vanessa, Tam, you ready? Yeah. All right, that's good. All right, so let's go with Debbie. Why don't you fire off a question?
I have something in my mouth, but I'll try.
Okay.
What would you describe as the one quality that Miss Asian Global should have?
Compassion. I think that's something everyone should have. I think what differentiates someone winning Miss Asian Global is how compassionate they are, not only about their social platform, but about how they want to showcase who they are and represent Miss Asian Global as a whole, as an organization.
Judge Kylie.
Hi, Vanessa. Could you tell us a little bit about your social platform or what you're passionate about?
Yeah, so I'm really passionate about labor reform. That's my social platform. I believe in good labor reform and being able to advocate for continuous change and being able to evolve how we work and the laws that govern the way we work. You know, our laws are great in San Francisco, but they can be better. There are many blue collar workers who are faced with very unfortunate situations. And although work is, we all have to work, right? And I believe that our laws should reflect how well we work.
Vanessa Tran, let's start with that. Right. Vivian Tran, do you have better connection right now?
I'm in the car to the airport, so sorry.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Okay, I'll like you can just listen in. That's still a little bit breaky, but yeah, you can just listen if that's okay with you then. All right. I'll jump over to Caitlin, Judge Caitlin.
What is one relationship you believe ended poorly? And if you could, how would you change that outcome? How would you resolve or change the outcome of that?
I think I made so many friends in college. There are friends that I thought would be my friends forever, and it ended right after college. The biggest thing I've learned from that is some people are just meant to be in the moment. If I could do anything to change those friendships, not that it really matters, just because I feel like my life is really good and I feel like everything happens for a reason. But if I were to change one thing, I think I would be very more empathetic and more open to hearing both sides and not just mine.
Judge Aaron.
Hi, Vanessa. What got you passionate about labor reform?
Yeah, my social platform is all about labor reform and advocating for change. This stems from my grandmother, like many immigrant families who come to America, no matter what kind of credentials that they have, wherever they come from, it doesn't apply the minute they step into America. And the biggest barrier of all is language. They don't speak the native language here. And I feel like most people in those situations end up working very blue collar jobs. And although it sounds bad, that's just how life is, you know. But I became very passionate because I see how hard my grandmother and many immigrant families work, and I don't believe they should be working in those conditions. Those people are old and they deserve to work in similar circumstances that I'm very fortunate to work under.
And that's 5 seconds left. So no judge is going to ask you a question and there's only 5 seconds left. So good job. Over. Any feedback for Vanessa? That was a really
Well
good.
said.
Yeah, thank you. Very good. Well done. Oh, it sounds like you have a pretty good connection now, Vivian. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm about to step into the airport.
Okay. All right. Good. All
Okay,
right.
so sorry.
That's all right. No, I guess. Okay.
Sorry guys, I'm enjoying listening.
All right. Excellent. Excellent. All right. Good job. Well done, Vanessa. Michaela, you ready? Okay, here goes. Your 3-minute interview. Vivian Tran, you are the first judge.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm getting my luggage out of the car right now. I guess I can ask a quick question. I know, guys, the timing. I guess what do you feel that a quality you embody that you wish others embodied as well?
Good. I'm sorry, were you saying anything, Michaela? We're not hearing you.
Could you repeat that one more time?
Yes, of course. My question is, what's a quality you feel that you embody that you wish others embodied as well?
I feel that or at least I try whenever possible to embody kindness. You never know what somebody is going through. There are times when I have definitely wished people would be kind towards me, not knowing what I'm going through. So I think if we're all kind, we will have a world that is nicer and easier to live in. So I wish all people would embody kindness.
Judge Yashi.
Okay, so what, in your opinion, would you like to do, a 9 to 5 job or something you're passionate about, but having to give up your weekends and holidays?
For me, that's an easy question. I would love to do something that I'm passionate about. I think that even if you are working more hours and giving up weekends, if you enjoy doing something and you're passionate, it doesn't feel like work. So I think entrepreneurship is the way.
Judge Vanessa Mai.
Hey, Michaela, I really love your name. So can you really tell us a little bit about the meaning, or where did you get your name from?
So I know my mom came up with the name Michaela. Not sure why she decided to spell it that way. I think that she wanted something that is unique. And they say a lot of the time that your name really creates the life that you have. So I've always tried to be different. And I think my name maybe contributed to that in some way. I know my dad wanted to call me Tracy. So in retrospect, I'm glad I got Michaela and not Tracy. Not that there's anything wrong with Tracy. I prefer Michaela. I think it's more me, if that makes sense.
Judge Ish.
Kind of a weird question, but Francis said that you can ask whatever you want.
Yep.
So, what is your opinion on plastic surgery in beauty pageants?
So I feel that plastic surgery should be a last resort to anything. There are so many things that you can do to achieve confidence in the way that you look. But if you really do want to enhance something and it'll make you feel confident, I think you should absolutely go for it. Obviously, seek expert recommendations first, because they know what is good for your health and they know they're experts. So I don't see any issue in plastic surgery. Like I said, should be a last resort, but do what makes you feel confident.
Judge Marissa.
Where's the favorite place that you've traveled?
Hong Kong. I love Hong Kong. Food's amazing, and I love the culture.
Good job. Now that's how you end an interview exactly on time.
Yay!
All right. So that's a perfect example. Michaela gave an example of being cognizant of answering. And some judges do that. Some judges are like, all right, in 5 seconds, tell me what's your favorite place and where you want to go. And you just say boom, 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 boom. Thank you. And that's it. So well done. Good job.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, I am gonna let you guys go now. You guys get a little breather. For you guys who are gonna go and meet up with Emily, make sure you guys get your heels ready. Make sure that you have a nice long space to walk so that she can see you guys walking. Make sure there's good light in the room so you can actually see you guys in the first place. And have lots of questions for her. She'll give you a lot of feedback. I'm gonna put this on YouTube. Don't worry, it's gonna be unlisted. And then I'll share that link with you guys to review, and for those who didn't make it to this class today to also review too. Next week it'll be Tuesday and Wednesday because of Memorial Day. But after that it'll be Monday, Tuesday. Okay. So was this helpful for you guys today? Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
so helpful. Thank you, Francis.
You're very welcome. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. Please, please, please.
I'm so proud of you guys.
We're proud of all you guys. I know this is gonna be one of the best classes we ever worked with. So please connect with each other, practice with each other. That's where your real power is gonna come from, is working with each other. I'm more of a touching stone every week, and then the ones that happen every other week, that's for the whole staff to have a touching stone of you guys. Okay. All right. I'll see you guys in about 15 minutes at Emily's class. Okay. Bye.
Thanks, Francis.
Thank you guys. Bye.